little bit. We're going to hear from the Newburgh Armory Unity Center first, and then we'll have public discussion and comments on agenda items following that. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Padilla for a moment.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, everyone. The first item I have is a public discussion with the board around what my team and I consider as a promising opportunity to partner with a community-based organization that is uplifting, that is providing rich opportunities to students across our communities. In the past several weeks, I've had an opportunity to talk with Mr. Kaplan and talk with other representatives of the Newburgh Armory Unity Center. I had an opportunity to talk with the new president of Mount St. Mary's College. And in essence, there are a number of organizations committing, so to speak, for a number of years to affiliate themselves with the future direction of the Armory. And so as you can see up on the screens, this is a draft of an affiliation agreement between the Newburgh and Lawrence City School District and the Armory. I have had a chance to read several of the other agreements from these participating organizations. And in essence, what you have in front of you is an acknowledgement that the Armory is a partnership that the district values. We greatly appreciate the leadership of Mr. Kaplan and the work of the board. We greatly appreciate the volunteers who go there on Saturdays to give our students an enriched experience. And we have several board members who volunteer their time. We have several staff members across the district who go and volunteer their time. And so the purpose and the effort behind this agreement is to make it known to the public where the district stands in support of the future of the Armory to ensure that it's sustainable for years to come. And so this is a 10-year draft. In essence, just shows that we are committing to be a partner, to serve on the board, and so that would be myself and a fellow board member, to share ideas, to talk about the programs that we know that work, that we would want the Armory to facilitate, and to have this open dialogue around possibilities for the future. The role the district would play in many respects would be a lead affiliate, and so how to get the other affiliates to come around ideas regarding educational programs today and those down the road. So on that note, I'd like to open up the floor to our board members for questions and comments.
Are there any questions and comments, board members?
Madam President?
Yes, Mr. Howard.
Yes, I would just like to say that I think this is a great opportunity for the district and for what we do. I don't know if anyone has been over to the Armory on Saturday mornings, but it's definitely a jaw-dropping experience. The things that are offered over there, and the big thing about it is it's 90 to 95% of our students in our district. So anything that we can do to enhance that program over there, I think is a no-brainer for us, because what's happening over there is a game changer for the kids in our district. And I just want to say I'm wholly in favor of the collaboration.
Any other board members would like to comment? Yes, Mr. Levinson.
I also am fully behind this draft resolution to state our position, and I do think it's great all the work that is done by the Armory.
Anybody else? Mr. Johnston?
I think it's quite interesting if you scroll down a little on the document. You can see both the Armory and the school district mission statements. And it's interesting that they align, and I think they're very compatible. The Armory's mission is to eliminate poverty through education, while ours is to inspire students to be tomorrow's leaders beyond academic academy field. I think those missions are very compatible, and I think there's certainly room to find programs and systems that will help all students within the district.
Ms. Santiago?
Thank you. I too agree, obviously, with everything and anything to help our students. My question is would this be available to all students in the district that live outside of the city?
Mr. Kaplan's here and probably can answer that. better than me, but based on our conversations with him, yes, this would be open to all district students.
Anyone else? Because I'd like to second everything that Mr. Howard, Mr. Levinson, and Mr. Johnson said. It's an unbelievable place. If you go on Saturday, it is absolutely unbelievable what's going on. So please take the time to visit. It's really cool. Would you like to have consensus?
So I would like consensus to move forward with this draft, and it's still a draft. I would ask if board members, when they have the time to kind of read this over and want to assist on just polishing this up a little bit. Ultimately, I would like to present it to Mr. Captain and the Armory Board there, so that way they can recognize that our Board of Education and district as a whole supports a partnership with them.
So I'm going to ask the board, yes or no, on consensus for this affiliation with the Newburgh Armory Community Center. I'd like to start with Mr. Stradone.
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein.
Yes.
Mr. Howard.
Yes.
Over here, Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Ms. Prakash.
Yes.
Ms. Burton.
Yes.
Mr. Johnston.
Yes.
Ms. Santiago.
Yes.
And I say yes.
So I will bring back a draft of this in the next several weeks. And again, this will be, I'll also have an opportunity to sit down with Mr. Captain and go over these ideas. Thank you, Board of Trustees.
Thank you. And Mr. Howard.
Yes.
We are now at the section of the agenda for public discussion and comments on agenda items. Excuse me.
Sure, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. President and Superintendent Leo. My name is Jason Axon. I'm the president of Mount St. Mary College, and I'm here to congratulate you all on your wonderful support for the work with the Armory. This, as we heard time and time again here, seems like a game changer. This is unique in all of American education to have a partnership that cuts across so many different areas, so many different affiliates, including higher ed institutions, two-year, four-year, public, private. Having the district involved will be an absolute accelerant to the work that's going on there. I'm a specialist in educational research and assessment, and what happened at the Armory works. I can't wait for great ideas from your team here to add to it so that we can continue to help the students at Newburgh read at and beyond grade level and close the college readiness gap. So this is really good stuff, and we're really excited. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I started off at the Armory as a volunteer parent and recently became a board of trustee. And I just want to speak from the community point of view. This is an awesome, awesome program. Not only is the education very good, but it also gives the students an opportunity to meet one another and to build confidence in life skills. So I have something prepared. Learn to read and you are free forever, Mr. Frederick Douglass. Encouraging the kids in our community to think beyond their circumstances and pursue what's possible is how I would describe the experience I get every Saturday at the Armory. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Amy Anderson, which I'm the president and CEO of Access Supports for Living. Some of you may have known us in our first 52 years as occupations. We're a large not-for-profit in this community, actually throughout the Hudson Valley. And I just want to add my congratulations and great appreciation for the district being willing to be such a vital contributor to this plan for the community center. There are also not-for-profits beyond education in the health and human services area, so that as we look towards the future and the impact on the health and the well-being of our community, we know it starts with the children. In terms of education and well-being, through the community center, there's the exposure to lots of possibilities for future careers and the future workforce that we need in this community, as well as the social and interpersonal development that really makes us all ready to be valuable contributors to the community. So it's very important what is occurring here beyond education in terms of the health and well-being of the whole community. So thank you.
I'm going to start over again. We're now at the section of the agenda for public discussion and comments on agenda items. Please refer to the regulations regarding discussion and comments that is posted next to the sign-in sheet. And please remember that we're not using anybody's name or anybody identifying anybody, okay? So the first person I have signed up is Mr. Mike Vesey. Did I say that right?
Beachy.
Beachy, excuse me.
Can everyone hear me all right? Good evening. My name is Michael Beachy. I've been a local interface supporter for roughly about 12 years now. Local taxpayer for 10. I would really just want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. And I'm here to speak about the opening of the varsity boys basketball coach. I was an all-state player, football and baseball, my entire life. Got a scholarship to play ball in college. Played 2 sports in college. I know what it takes to be a good athlete and what good coaches are. The current coach you have in place right now is that great coach. He's tough, he's loyal, driven, strong. One of the most genuine people that I know. Always on the ball, focused on his next move. True characteristics of a leader. That's who you want to lead children. That's who you want to lead the kids nowadays, especially. He goes to be above and beyond for all of his players. Done everything asked from him, from this very board. Everything from attendance requirements to GPA averages. Not only has he delivered, he's implemented his own rules, own policies for the success of these children. He's established his own tutoring program, study hall, keeps his players at all times, keep them in check. He takes his players to college showcases, official visits, admission issues, just programs, all for the future of these kids. The Goldbacks have been in the playoffs 6 of the last 7 years. Won a Section 9 championship. He was Coach of the Year. Most importantly, he's got a 98% graduation rate from his students. 98%. I don't know what else to say. There's really not much else to say. I don't mind whoever the competition may be. And I know it's competition. I don't know him personally. I don't need to. The fact that it's even a consideration of this board, of this community, is appalling to me. Again, like I said, this is not a personal dig. But this is the future of children we're talking about here. When he had the opportunity, he failed. Are we willing to take that risk again? You tell me. Me as a father? I'm not. I can't see anyone in this room that would be. I don't understand what we're doing here. What are we even doing here? Why are we discussing this? This is year after year this has been going on. Committees, groups, boards, we're all put together, all put in place to prevent personal agenda, higher officials, to skew the judgment of the common group. I feel like that's what's happening here. There's a few individuals that are really pulling some strings behind the scenes that you need to be an insider to find out. And it's out there. We know. We know. Every single board meeting I've ever attended, the main focus is the success of these children, the kids. It's all about the kids. What message are we sending these children if we take a step back? What message are we sending? Not a positive one. We're supposed to learn from our mistakes. Again, we're human. Everyone makes the mistakes. 100%. But when children are involved, I don't believe a second chance is necessary. I don't think it's right. I don't. What we're looking for is a coach that would do anything at any given time for any single one of his players. Make sure his athletes not only graduate, but do better things outside of school, after high school. They're still kids. They're 17, 18, some 19. They're still children. They need to become men in this community. Help everyone out. That's what we're looking for here. The board has the opportunity tonight to keep this program running in the right direction. The current coach was also told that they want to go in a different direction. The only direction you can go is down. It's the only place you can go. Only place. So I don't even know why this is a discussion, but here we are. I hope you all make the right decision tonight. And again, thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Mike Haas. Oh, no, sorry. First, Mr. Matt Brown.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Coach Matt Brown. It has been a tremendous honor to be boys varsity basketball coach the past 7 years on and off the court. I would love to continue with all the great accomplishments we as a program have achieved. It is with sincere disappointment that I was not recommended to coach this upcoming season. I have led this program with nothing but honesty, integrity, and class. When I took over this program, we were deep in an academic and attendance scandal. Stop kidding yourselves. It was a difficult time for this school district and community. My staff and I worked tirelessly to change the perception of the boys basketball program in the district. Unfortunately, the leadership in this school district does not see all the efforts over the years made by myself, staff, and players to enhance our entire program. Many of you were not there. Some were, which makes that even more difficult to swallow. You were not the ones who had to deal with our kids being harassed every time we went on the road, walking through the hallways, on the court, being verbally attacked because of what happened. You were not there when our kids were being chastised and asked me to coach. Why are we being treated like this? We were not involved in this. I had to look them in the eyes and tell them, all your efforts on and off the court will be appreciated. Now, because of this is a slap in the face. I find it upsetting and disturbing that after 17 years of service in this district, 20 plus years in the basketball program, having dedicated my career to giving back to my community, that all I receive from this administration is a phone call telling me the committee went for a different candidate. What another slap in the face. When I took over this program, I wanted to do things differently. I wanted to do things the right way. As a player, my senior year, we were 21-2, lost in the state semifinals. Yet only 4 out of the 8 seniors on my team graduated. I knew things needed to be different. Therefore, I got to work and incorporated so many programs, fundraisers such as golf outings, spaghetti dinners, to help my players who were less fortunate and that had academic issues. I have personally driven my players to college showcases, camps, college visits, top 100s on my own time. I have taken them to places they only dreamed about, like playing in the famous Plestra. This is the definition of a good coach that Newburgh needs. It should be supported and helped 100%. I wanted to give our Newburgh kids the same opportunities that other kids across the country have. Yet members of this administration and Board of Education refuse to acknowledge. Why do you feel there needs to be a change? Since I've been the boys varsity basketball coach, we have a 98% graduation rate. I have 33 of my former players attending college. These are facts. These are not opinions. Can't be my overall career. I've won a Section 9 championship, voted as B Candy Coach of the Year, improved the graduation rate, attendance, created a tutoring program with the Mount, had Mount St. Mary admissions officers speak to the team. I brought in former alumni to speak to the team. I brought in nutritionists to speak to our team, helped fundraisers, youth camps, community service. I have had all our guidance counselors create portfolios for our young men. All these programs are ridiculous, all the things I've done for these guys. It's extremely upsetting to know all these initiatives go unnoticed and unappreciated. Okay? Have you ever asked yourself what's going on? Okay? You know that one of the few programs, varsity programs this past year that had 0 players on academic contracts. 0! My players are able to be successful in the classroom through throughout my career, I had wheeled kids into surgery, had kids in my home, traveled as far as Niagara Falls for college visits with them, sat with kids in courtrooms for support. I've even missed Father's Day weekend with my own two kids because I was with my players in Philadelphia on my own time, bringing to a showcase that will help for the future. Without question, Coach Brown does it with love. Okay? I hope this for a reason is not about a certain board member having a vendetta against me. That's ridiculous. This whole process has been unjust and wrong. This decision, okay, was in the works. This candidate you chosen back in May was calling members of my coaching staff and asking if they would be on his staff. That's not right.
Coach Brown, slow down, baby.
So in the end, I've gone above and beyond for our kids to make this program, district, and community proud. I love Newburgh. I love playing for Newburgh. I love being the Newburgh varsity basketball coach. I deserve to be the Newburgh boys varsity basketball coach. I am Newburgh basketball.
Mike Paz.
Good evening. A lot of you see in this audience, a lot of people on the committee here, and board members, you know me, some of you know. Just want to say I've been involved with the NFA basketball program on the staff for the last 35 years, since 1982. I have been through the ups and downs with the program. What I say should carry a little merit in this conversation for the simple fact, this program's not about me, it is about the kids, first and foremost. It is everything what the first two speakers have said. The education, helping these kids get on to the next level. It's nice to have the wins and losses, but it's not always that. It goes beyond that. It goes far beyond that. My reward is helping these kids. When I see them move on, that's great. And when somebody says, hey, we went 24-1. All right, yeah, that's good, that's good. We went 12-9, okay? All right, we can do better. Well, we always strive. We don't sit back and say, oh, well, don't lose the season. We work hard trying to achieve. This day and age, kids have changed. Attitudes have changed. Influence has changed on these kids. A lot of them are influenced by outside organizations, and I'm not trying to put down the outside organizations like these AAUs. You got some great AAU programs, you got some that are only in it for the money. And they use the kids and their parents to brainwash them into this. Or say, come on, you go to prep school. It's better. And it's not just happening in Newburgh, it's happening in Kingston. It's happening in Dutchess County, Westchester. I talked to a lot of coaches that I've known for a long time. And when I told them what was going on here, they said, you gotta be kidding. You gotta be kidding. It's sad. In my 35 years with the program, I've given my heart and soul to this program. And you know what? If Brown isn't retained, I'm done. I'm done. I will never step foot in the Newburgh gym. You know, I don't want to be part of any kind of down there. We're supposed to be moving on up. You want to go the other way, so be it. The other candidates have a right to put their application in. But your board, when you go into your meeting tonight and you make that decision, you better think hard. You all better think hard. Because if the right decisions are made, there's still going to be repercussion over this. There will be repercussions. I can guarantee that. And I ain't afraid to face anybody on it. But I'm very sad by this. 35 years I've been with this program through the ups and downs of it, and I've been proud to be a Newburgh graduate, proud to be affiliated with this basketball program with every coach from 1982 that I started with, all the way through the times when we had the scandal, and up until now. I was still proud to be part of the Newburgh staff, because I believe in these kids, and I want to continue helping. But if it's going to be going the other way, you guys make that decision. Oh, I got 2 minutes. I'll be done with it. I think you guys can have your fun and games with it. But I want you to think hard what your decision will be. You want to go the other way and deal with the media? You know what happened a couple years ago, how much repercussion and how much blood you guys got dragged through for those of you that were there back then, and it wasn't a pretty sight. It wasn't a pretty sight. Yeah, there are some haters out here tonight that aren't going to support the decision, and there are going to be some that want to go the other way. Well, you know what? They have that right to do that. But if we're smart, we'll do the right thing. And I say we go after we keep Coach Brown on. If we can't, and the way it's been treated, well, guess what? If the next program fails in the Newburgh School District, whether it be badminton or whatever we have on varsity, I'm not going to name other teams, okay, if they don't have a winning season, then that coach is going to be out. So I want you all to think hard what you're going to say and do tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Matt Lawrence.
Good evening, folks. As you said, my name is Matt Lawrence. I've been with the school district for 26 years, and unlike most that came before you, I have no skin in the game. I am the announcer for sports, and I have been involved in many programs through the district. However, I have no children in the district. I have been here longer than most coaches, and I am at almost every sporting event up until a few years ago until my kids started playing sports. I work in Albany, and I work nights. And I took 5 hours off to drive down here because I feel that this is that important to me. Tonight needs to be about the respect of choice, not the assassination of a man's character. Because you blow somebody else's candles out does not make yours shine any brighter. That was a quote from my daughter at her graduation. First, we are losing respect for others' opinions, whether we agree with it or not. Every time we make a decision in life, there are going to be some people who challenge it. Give someone a free lunch, and they ask why. Drop off some clothes to a shelter, they think you're doing it to feel good. Respect is losing its place in modern society. It's replaced with, I don't care, or YOLO. And if you don't know what that is, you only live once. That's what our kids are saying now. These two phrases apparently make it right for people to be mean and say whatever it affects them. The superintendent of this district was hired to make tough choices. Let's face it, he has the hardest job I know of. He has to please teachers, administrators, civil service, students, parents, and elected officials who hire him, which are you on the board. When it comes to athletics, you task a new athletic director, brand new, one who also has a very tough job considering the fiasco that went on over the last 2 years in that department with the job of appointing a coach to this basketball program. 2 rounds of interviews by 2 different committees, newspaper articles, opinions given, Facebook posts, and now here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a job interview, nothing more, nothing less. We witnessed a so-called job interview last week that was more about politics in the newspaper and on TV than anything. It was sad to watch the assassination of someone's character and family in a public forum, kind of which is being done here tonight. I implore you not to do any more of that tonight. This isn't about one coach versus another. This is not about what Justin Rodriguez or the NAACP has to say in the newspaper. This is about how to move forward with a basketball program that has been the topic of news for years for one reason or another. The past coach, his career was cut short in the NFA boys basketball because it was taken too early. He was taken out because of an investigation. He was never found to be culpable of any of those reasons, or why the boys cut the classes, or didn't go to school. And they were 2 independent investigations, not 1. He was, however, one of the reasons the boys, many and before him, still continue to support him today. When all the smoke cleared, the retirements went into the sunset, the reporters were finished kicking the dead horse, and the investigations were complete, one man remained, still sits in front of you today, ready to be given back the job that was wrongfully taken away. Whoever our superintendent and athletic director choose to lead the program, be confident in their choice, not afraid of opinions, because afraid is a bad time to make a decision. Just because you blow someone else's candles out doesn't make anybody else's shine any brighter. Please remember that. Thank you.
Mr. Mark Marcus Henderson.
Good evening. My name is Marcus Henderson, and I played point guard for the former coach. Now, what I will say is, I can speak for myself and a few of my teammates. My high school coach, I still talk to him today for a reason. He's a big part of my success. I graduated college. I'm thinking about becoming a cop right now, but he helped me along the way. And I thank him so much for everything he has done for me and done for my family. Now, today's kids, I've been through everything they've been through as well. So there's not a difference. Now, when it comes to the program, I am proud to say that I was a go-back, and I will be a go-back to the day I die. No matter who the coach is, I will be a go-back forever. I support Newburgh. I grew up in Newburgh. For the most part, I think I'm in Newburgh. Now, a lot of my teammates went to college. Eddie Hopper graduated from Drexel University. Will Bowden graduated from Pepperdine. I graduated from St. Thomas Aquinas College. Devon McMillan graduated from LIU Post after transferring from Fordham. Patrick Johnson is working in the Newburgh School District. Mike McLeod went to college, and he actually has a good job right now. So at the end of the day, when people saying he said, she said stuff, do we really believe it? I mean, if you ask me, none of that stuff is true, because at the end of the day, he supported all of us, and he was there for all of us. And people are going to say he wasn't, people are going to say this, that, and the third. But there comes, with a lot of these kids, yes, the coaches are held accountable, but we all have parents as well. And I am successful because my mother took care of me, and she did everything she could to provide for me. So we got to bring the parents through sometime. No disrespect to any parents out there. We got to hold ourselves accountable as parents. Now, to touch on as far as showcases, I remember in high school, coach took some players to showcases. He took players to college workouts as well. I know I had a college workout in front of Bobby Hurley Jr. He played for Duke, won 2 national titles with Duke, the NCAA's all-time assist leader. My coach did everything he could to make sure I had that workout, and I did. I ended up not going to Wagner because stuff I did, but I got another chance, and I was always on the phone with Coach Dino, and he gave me some good advice. Until this day, I still talk to him like I said earlier. I mean, I don't really know what else to say, what more to say, but I do know all that hard work I put in on the court and off the court. Coach Dino, he influenced me a lot. And I am proud just to say that we won a state championship. That was a lot of hard work and dedication. And also with our team, we stuck together and we was just there for one another, and we all had respect for our coach. For the most part, we had no intentions of quitting because we respected our coach so much. And today, you have kids, the 2 best players last season, they quit. And when I talked to them, they really weren't happy about what was going on. And I felt so bad for them because all they wanted to do was play basketball. But they ended up quitting because they just did not respect what was going on. I just want to say thank you for letting me speak. And whatever decision you guys make, I'm gonna support it just because I love Newburgh. So, thank you.
Mr. Kevin Houston. Did I say that correctly?
In some parts of the city, yes, but I'm going to go by you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Kevin
No
Houston.
worries. Good evening, everybody. Thank you to the Board of Education, to the school officials that are present here tonight for giving me the opportunity to speak to you this evening. My name is Kevin Houston, and I'm here this evening to speak in support of former coach and also my current brother-in-law,
regaining his position as the boys varsity basketball coach at Newburgh for the upcoming season. For those of you that may not know me, I'm well schooled and passionate about basketball. I had a successful college career at the U.S. Military Academy. I learned a lot about leadership there, of course, mostly from my coach. I learned about motivating and inspiring those that are trusted to my care, and my passion did not end at West Point as far as basketball was concerned. I currently coach in high school right now as a boys basketball coach at Pearl River. I previously coached varsity boys basketball up here in Cornwall at the Storm King School, and I was fortunate enough to attain some success at the AAU, CYO, the high school level. And I say that not to brag about myself, but to just demonstrate my own knowledge and my credibility as a basketball coach. That includes a brief stint coaching in the Summer Sizzler up at St. Mary's here in Newburgh with the youth of the community, and also at the Winter Chill over at the Boys Club. I was a longtime resident in New Windsor, and I'm well aware of the success that NFA has achieved over the years, attributable to many coaches and many assistant coaches. My first observation of the former coach was back in 2007, well before I knew him. I watched Cornwall host Newburgh in a pretty high-intensity game. Cornwall jumped to a pretty early lead. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't think the officiating favored Newburgh too much, and unfortunately, the head coach at the time was ejected. Well, up stepped the former coach into a pretty tense situation, and he immediately inserted himself and asserted himself. He confidently rose to the occasion, restored confidence to the team, rallied them. He showed great poise, great patience, great leadership, and clearly demonstrated his willingness to go the distance for the boys. The one thing that thoroughly impressed me was how the boys responded to him in the heat of the moment. They showed they had mutual respect for him, they trusted him, and they knew that he could guide them back from the brink of the disaster that they were on. And that's exactly what he did. His leadership was critical at that moment, and it became even more critical when he was the former head coach. I'm not big on records, but he won 72 of his 91 games while he was here, including the New York State Class AA championship during the 2009 season. Subsequent to the change in leadership of the program, the NFA School District clearly demonstrated its confidence, its faith, and its trust in the former coach, as he was fortunate enough and blessed enough to become not only a coach in high school with girls basketball, football, lacrosse, and modified soccer. So clearly the administration had confidence in his ability and was not shaken by the scandal that rocked both him and the district. He's proven himself to be a trusted leader to guide student athletes as a coach in multiple sports. His leadership and teaching have resulted in positive experiences for the student athletes that he has engaged with, both at the high school and the junior high school level. I'm sure his experience in all of his coaching endeavors at NFA, both good and bad, have helped shape him into a better coach, a better leader, and a better mentor. And he's clearly demonstrated that in the roles he has fulfilled since then. I have observed my brother-in-law in many roles over the last several years. As a camp counselor, as a family member, a coach, a father, a friend, and a husband. He has always been devoted to those entrusted to his care. He's willingly sacrificed his time for the benefit of others and given great energy to those around him. He's a proven coach and a proven leader, and I am sure he will attain future success and win many more games if given the opportunity. But as I said, winning games is not the truest measure of success. It's helping student athletes reach their potential, mentoring them, encouraging them, instilling confidence, leading and helping them take advantage of opportunities. And I know he has done that for many student athletes here at NFA. And he's been a true part of a great resurgence in the Newburgh community with the run to the state championship, and I'm sure he will instill that again in the future. You know, life is full of second choices. You know, look in the paper, look on TV. There's a lot of them out there, and many second choices result in very, very big-time success stories. And I'm sure if Newburgh chooses to move in a new direction with the former coach, they will be happy and they will be rewarded. Thank you.
I'm going to extend this a couple of minutes. and allow Reverend John Gordon to come and address the group.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, people of Newburgh. We certainly thank God for this opportunity. I am Bishop John Gordon, president of the Newburgh Highland Falls branch of the NAACP, which stands for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Every person is a color. As we look over this particular 11.8, the hiring of the coaches, and we revisit the decision of the superintendent, I would ask that the members of the board, that we, the inner city people, have voted into office to represent us, to be our voice. I would ask that you would just take a look around the room and see that this is a very important issue here. I do know this, that if you have committed adultery, male or female, yes, you can be forgiven. But when the subject of adultery comes up, you have to hold your tongue, because you reopen old scabs that may have began to heal. If we look to go back into an area that we've already been delivered from, we've already had a scandal there. It was like the joy of victory and then the agony of defeat. I happen to be the only go-back from 1980 to have won 24 straight games and only lose one. I'm the only go-back who had a son on that state championship team. So I have also invested not only myself, my time and my effort, but my family's time and effort. If we went down the list, I've had a board on that basketball team pretty much almost every other year. If I didn't have a Gordon, I had a Jackson. If I didn't have a Jackson, I got a Coleman. And you see, as one of the Colemans are listed as one of the assistant coaches looking to be hired, another one of my family members. So I think of the 56 years that I've lived here, and for 2 more years I'll be at high school for 40 years, I do have to skin involved. I do think my voice should be heard. I think that any time the committee comes to make these choices, there should be some of us on that committee to help make that choice. I've got no problem with anybody personally that you choose, but let's just look at the truth. When this city was turned upside down, and every year we had a riot that would start at the high school and end up between Grand Street and Du Bois Street, every year. It was the men's basketball team that settled this city. It was the men's basketball team who was so intricate in having the peace come to this city. So the basketball coach, the basketball team, is a very important team. Note this, that in 1980 is the only time in the history of this city that they only had the JV games that play at 5:30. They still play at 5:30. But in 1980, they made the varsity games play at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because they didn't want a visiting team here after 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. What did that do? It banded the city together. People would leave work early, come stand side by side, and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you couldn't get a seat. Note this, I've also done television for the city of Newburgh, for Marlboro, and for Cornwall, for Paragon Cable 6. I then left that and became a coach in the Newburgh Large City School District for 4 years. Then I left to go to Valley Central to coach their boys basketball team for 4 years. Note this, that those same young men now call me coach. They don't call me bishop, they don't call me pastor, they call me coach. The reason why they call you coach is because they trust you. Note this, that if we go backwards, if there is anything that happens that has happened over the last 4 years, over the course of the last 4 seasons, we saw young men continue the pipeline from basketball to prison. They've talked about all those stats, but tell us how many players on these last 2 coach teams have gone to jail. Yeah, our quarterback need to be a cop. Maybe he might have a tough task of arresting some people that he played basketball with. Because the pipeline keeps increasing. There's only one of the 3 candidates that you have according to the contract that you just had signed. There's only one candidate that has not been given an opportunity to lead our young people. He doesn't have any children in jail, and he's only because of the way the contract was written that we have to allow another person. I say unto you, and I close, that you guys need to go back today before you finalize it. You have every right to do so. There'll be no threats, there'll be no empty promises about what's going to occur. But it's just simply this, don't be a yes man, don't be a yes woman to what somebody who have just been here a few months, making a decision for who to coach our team. Know that it's bigger than that this city rallies behind that men's basketball team. And many of y'all sitting here know that we have voted you in office. I want to thank y'all for your time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We're going to move on to section 2, our superintendent, Dr. Padilla.
So 2.2 is a, come on up. Is Mr. Brown here? Okay, Mr. Brown, if you can come on up. It is a resolution to accept a music donation.
Yes, good evening, I'm Teresa Brown, I'm Director of Fine and Performing Arts for the Newburgh City School District. It's my pleasure to recognize Newburgh Chamber Music this evening for the donation of supplies for our string instrument program. Newburgh Chamber Music continues to present a diverse repertoire of classical and contemporary music performed by the highest quality chamber ensembles, such as the Catalyst Quartet, which will be performing right across the street at St. George's on November 4th at 3 o'clock. This organization seeks an audience that includes a large portion of young people, and previously has donated instruments to our students to utilize within our instructional programs. Newburgh Chamber Music continues to support our school community tonight by presenting supplies to our teachers. Tonight, Ms. Roberta Warfield, Mary McEnery, Karen Warner, and Rick McCurdy will be presenting supplies to Ms. Montito. Please join me in thanking the Newburgh Chamber Music by a round of applause.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Music is very integral to the lives of many students. It's also the basis of everything that we hear and do in society. I think it's really important that the Newburgh schools foster music education. Thank you.
Item 2.3 is communication regarding our capital project, and I'm going to have Mr. Roger Ramjug come up to the microphone and engage the Board of Trustees in a conversation around ideas regarding next steps. And so just to inform our public this evening, the district is undergoing a capital project. We're extremely excited about it. It's taken us quite a bit of time to finalize the scope of the project, and in the past few weeks, the board gave us a consensus to move forward with the necessary environmental studies. And at this point, we would like to capitalize on the next 6 months as an opportunity to inform the public about this capital project. And so Mr. Ramjug is going to walk us through some of those ideas.
Thank you, Dr. Padilla. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At the board consensus at the last Board of Education meeting, it enabled the capital project to move forward with respect to procedurally with the state environmental quality review process. That usually takes about approximately 5 months, give or take. Upon conclusion of that, we will be coming back to the board for an official vote to adopt the project and then establish a date for a bond referendum. It's also important for us to utilize that time to communicate with our community, both internally and externally, about all of the details, the narrow and the broad details about the project. And I'm here this evening to just share with you some of the specifics around communication. The who is, of course, all of our stakeholders, parents, students, employees, community leaders, taxpayers, everyone who's vested in our community and in both our school community as well as our community stakeholders. The where is that we are going to put together a team to carry the message and bring it to the town council meetings, community organization meetings, any way that we possibly can to go and share the details of the project, parent-teacher group meetings, and a religious community. We want to get the message out as clearly as possible so everyone understands all of the aspects of the project, including and especially the fiscal impact. That's going to continue for the next 5 months up until that time to establish that bond referendum vote, and so that everyone can look forward to communication about the project. It's a dialogue for the most part in the context of we need the feedback from the community, we need thoughts about the project, so there will be quite a bit of back and forth so that everyone fully understands. And the how, just about every communication avenue possible, face-to-face meetings, presentations, videos, social media is an outstanding outlet to get the message out, brochures, printed materials, and letters. Okay? So it's important for you to know that this is going to be ongoing while the state environmental quality review is being conducted.
Questions? Comments or questions from the board regarding ideas for communication over the next 5 months? So I just want to emphasize that, again, we have 5 months to share with the community what the scope of the project is, while making it also very clear to people that this is a project the board has not yet approved. And that's important. We don't want to have people think that this is a for sure thing when you still need to wait for the results of secret. But at the same time, we feel we have an obligation to inform the community as to the likelihood of the project. And so we just want to make sure you're on board with our next steps. So are there any concerns? Are you comfortable with what's being shared so that way we can put this team together that Mr. Ramsdale mentioned?
Board members, questions, comments? That is okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ramsdale. Item 2.4 is a resolution to execute an agreement with the Newburgh Mall Realty, LLC.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Brokaw?
Yes.
Mr. Strider?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Berger?
Yes.
Item 2.5 is the independent auditor's report from Bonneville & Co. And we're going to have a quick presentation on the independent audit.
Thank you, good evening. My name is Alan Walter. I'm the partner with the Bonneville Group. We are the school district's external auditors. Earlier this evening, I met with the audit committee and reviewed the audited financial statements in detail with the audit committee. Tonight, for the full board, I'd just like to give a brief presentation of the overall results of our audit. Our role as the school district auditors is to issue 3 reports. We issue an auditor's report on the school district's financial statements. We issue a report on the school district's internal controls and compliance in accordance with governmental auditing standards. and we issue a report on the school district's internal control and compliance in accordance with uniform guidance, which are the rules that govern the way that the school district expends its federal dollars. The overall result of our audit for the year was that we are issuing an unmodified opinion on the school district's financial statements, which is the highest level of assurance we can give on the financial statements. That is the opinion that all the users of the financial statements, the bond rating agencies, state education department, the office of state controller, that is the opinion that the users will be looking for. With regard to internal controls, we had no internal control findings, and we had no compliance findings. And with regard to compliance with your federal programs, we had no compliance findings and no findings that had been reported in accordance with uniform guidance. The overall results of the audit were favorable. Some of the highlights for the year: the school district was required this year to implement a new accounting standard that caused it to recognize the full value of its other post-funded benefits, which is the promises that the school district has made to pay health insurance predominantly to both retirees and its current employees. We discussed that with the audit committee, the effects that that had upon the financial statements. At the governmental fund level, the school district ended the year with approximately $49.5 million of fund balance. The unreserved fund balance was maintained below just the New York State 4% limitation. That's the extent of my comments, unless there's any questions on the financial statements or the reports.
Board members, any questions or comments on the audit? If not, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, that concludes my items.
Thank you, Dr. Padilla. We're going to move on to my section of it. We have a resolution to adopt policies on the first reading. That's policy 10110, sexual harassment, 8410, transportation, and 8413, non-public school transportation. I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
I would like to separate out, actually, I would like to say,
No, you want to amend.
okay, I move to amend the resolution, strike 8413.
Okay, so let's get it on the agenda first, so let me have a second first. And then we can, first a motion and a second, then we'll amend it, and then we'll vote as amended, okay? So, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Okay. Now, can I have a motion to amend?
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to amend the motion to strike out 8413 to the table.
Thank you. I'd like to have a second to have that amend that resolution. Okay, questions or discussion? Roll call.
Point of order. Point of order.
Okay.
So we're taking out the non-public schools in the first paragraph, and then we are also taking out the non-public school transportation in the second paragraph. So we're going to end it out as 8410 transportation, and then going to be a period. And everything else get deleted.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have a motion to amend. Now we need a vote to amend.
Mr. Johnston? Yes. Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmayer?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Burton?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
We have an amended resolution on the floor. So are there any questions, non-questions, nothing? Can we have a vote as amended? Yes, sir?
I have a question. At the policy committee, will the sexual harassment policy be coming up again to the policy committee in the short term? I noticed a few things. New York State published kind of a model policy, and it seems like a pretty good basis to work from. And not everything included in the model is in our policy, so I think there's some room for improvements there.
I'm going to defer to Mr. Howard as the chairperson.
Yes, Madam President. We had moved to continue that discussion around the sexual harassment policy. When my discussion comes up on the board committees, I was going to talk about moving that forward, and that we were going to just vote on a section of tonight, but the continued conversations to be had on the next policy.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call as amended, please.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes?
Ms. Wilcox?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
We're going to move on to board committees. Library Committee, Mr. Johnston.
In the interest of time this evening, I'll keep it very short. The committee met on Wednesday, October 3rd. We were very pleased to meet the new assistant director, Mary Lou Carolan. And we had a very nice discussion with her about how the goals of the library and the school district are compatible and how we can work together to improve things. One small example which did come up in the meeting was we revisited the topic of the library has a fantastic collection of historic documents that you can access over the web. And it was mentioned that the head of the social studies department is looking at developing some training which incorporates those materials into the school district curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the Policy Committee, Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Madam President. We also met on Wednesday, October 3rd, and we had a discussion around eligibility for student athletic and extracurricular activity participation. We had a conversation in regards to comprehensive student attendance policy. And as per Mr. Johnson, we did discuss the sexual harassment policy because of the deadline of October 9th of the State Education Department. We had to bring it for the board tonight for a vote, but we had decided to bring it back to committee so that we can tweak it and talk about new ideas, some new information in regards to sexual harassment policy. We also had a conversation on our transportation. As you have seen, we put off the agenda tonight, and we had a resolution to approve conference requests, and we also did a resolution to authorize the superintendent to execute an agreement with the NYCLA. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. We're going to move on to Finance Committee, Ms. Santiago.
Thank you, Madam President. Today, we had our Budget and Finance Committee meeting today. We reviewed the final contract with Lockwood for last school year, June 2018. We also reviewed services towards next budget election vote. We reviewed the 2019-2020 budget calendar. We also discussed the moving forward with the architectural services team, as well as the traffic impact study in the secret. And we also discussed the audit report for those who took turn as staff.
Thank you. We're going to move on to Section 6, our Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Forger.
Thank you, Madam President. This evening I have one resolution. It's a resolution to authorize the superintendent to execute an agreement with the New York City Leadership Academy.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Wilcox? Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. That concludes my item.
Thank you, Mr. Forget. We're going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, Elementary, Mrs. Felice.
Good evening, Madam President. This evening for CNI Elementary, we bring one item, item 7.1, the resolution to approve conference requests.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Thank you. Questions or discussion? Yes, Ms. Felice?
Madam President, I'd like to have the board consider amending items 2 and 3 to read the dates as 10/17 through 10/19 for both 2 and 3.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor. Can I have a motion to amend, please?
To amend, please.
Any questions or discussion? Let's vote on amending.
Ms. Wilcox?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston? Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes. So we have an amended motion on the floor. Are there any questions or discussion? Roll call as amended, please.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton? Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. That concludes our CNI elementary items.
Thank you, Mrs. Felice. We're going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, Secondary, Dr. Spindler.
Good evening, Madam President. I would like to present one agenda item this evening. Item 8.1, the resolution to approve field trip request.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stritter?
Yes.
Madam President, that concludes my items for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Spindler. We're going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent of Exceptional Learners, Mr. Bayer.
Good evening, Madam President. I have one item on tonight's agenda, and that's the recommendations of the CSE and CPSA committees.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Okay. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Burton? Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stritter?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. That concludes my items for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Bayer. We're going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent for Finance, Mr. Kern.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight's finance would like to offer for consent agenda 2 items, 10.1 and 10.2.
Would any member like to separate out any of these items?
Could we separate 10.1, please, or vote on them separately?
Vote on them separately. That's all I need. So we're going to start with 10.1. I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Second.
Questions or discussion on 10.1? Yes, Mr. Strugan.
On 10.1, the original contract was for the $73,500 in approximately 1 year of services. At some point, when we got past the 1 year, I think it would have been a good idea to have some kind of a meeting with the professional to go over the scope before we get to a point where additional billing was submitted at a later point, prompting this additional $73,500. Every department in the district has a budget. And we are going out to the public for a vote on a large amount of money for capital bond. And I think to show the public that we have responsibility with the little things will help us to have faith with the public on the bigger things. And to have this, where now it's double, and then after this maybe a more expense, it's just, we need to tighten it up a little bit. And I think that we can learn from this and be better at it.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes. I'd just like to agree with Mr. Stritter. I think it would have been good to understand that these expenses were coming through before it reaches this point, after the work has been completed, and we're kind of stuck with a bill presented after the fact. I'd also like to make a motion to amend this resolution. The amendment would be to strike a clause that begins with pre-referendum work performed after January 1, 2019, from there to the end of that sentence. And that's the part of this which says that there will be time and materials billing for any work performed after that date. I think it would be nice to be clearer about how much that work is, how much the rate is, and exactly, what that would amount to before we agree to.
Thank you. I have a motion to amend 10.1. Can I have a second, please? Any other questions or discussion on amending? Roll call to amend, please.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Stritter?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
We have an amended resolution on the floor. So, does anybody have questions or comments?
Madam President, can you state the amended motion, please?
Excuse me?
The amended motion?
Sure. I'll have Mr. McCoy read it.
Be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Newburgh RC School District hereby approves the proposal for extension of free recreational and protective services to December 31st, 2018, as set forth in the letter from Clark Patterson Lee dated September 7th, 2018. As presented to the Board of this meeting, for a total fee of $73,500 plus reimbursable expenses.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the amended resolution? Roll call, please.
Mr. Johnston? Yes. Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes?
Ms. Brokaw?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmeyer?
No.
Mrs. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
We're going to move on to item 10.2. I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Questions or discussion on 10.2? Yes, Mr. Strittmeyer?
On 10.2, we have a cost on the traffic study. I believe it's $70,000 to study the traffic patterns. Something that large, I would prefer to have it as a bid from other companies. There are companies that specialize just in traffic studies. Even if it's something that we can send out as a, I don't know what you call it, it's not an RFP, but it's almost a informational, as to get some kind of idea of what the ranges of fees would be. Other than that, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with the proposal, other than the traffic study.
Are there any other questions or comments? Yes, Ms. Brokaw?
Yes, I had mentioned that in committee, especially about the traffic study, and see if we could look into, we have done traffic studies before, and what the results of those were. So I'd like to see if we can say if they're not to exceed 110, and if we can get something less expensive on the traffic study than we go for that. I don't know if that could be amended into that, not to exceed 110.
So you want to make a motion to amend this by not to exceed the 110, plus you want to remove the traffic impacts study?
I don't necessarily want to remove it, but if they, once we get into it, we can get a better price for it, it would be, you know.
Wait, and let me ask Mr. Shaw if we can do that. Mr. Shaw?
You could indicate that it may include a traffic study.
Okay.
Mr. Strittmeyer?
The proposal specifically talks about Clark Patterson Lee doing the work. So if you're going to get proposals from other companies, this has to be rewritten.
Mr. Shaw, can you help us?
I think if we change including the traffic study to say that may include a traffic study, that gives you the option to parse it out.
Okay, so we have a motion to amend. Can I have a second, please? Okay. Roll call to amend.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Brokaw? Mr. Strittmeyer?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Thank you. I'm going to ask Mr. McCoy to read the amended resolution, please.
So everything that's right on there, instead of saying including a traffic study, it may include a traffic study.
And then the amount? Not to
And
exceed.
then amount not to exceed 110,500.
Okay, so we have that amended resolution on the floor. Are there any other questions or comments? Mr. Johnston, you look quizzical.
I'm just a little confused by the purpose of the changes. Some of maybe you could just recap it for me. It seems like, just on the face of it, it seems like we're spending the same amount, but one part of it is optional, is what it looks like. But I think there's more to it than that. If someone could just clarify.
Ms. Brokaw, can you help us with that?
Well, one of the things that we had discussed at our last meeting was about the traffic study being so high. And we said, is there a chance of them looking into if there's other traffic studies that have been done that could be helpful to this to bring the price down. So there, I don't know if it did or not, so that's why I said may include, the traffic study, because maybe someone else would do it less expensive, but this will not stop them from doing the other things that they have, that they're going to be doing. That doesn't stop the whole completely,
Go ahead, and then I'm going to go to you, Mr. Stringer.
So I guess my follow-up question is the traffic study required, and are we going to have to get someone else to do it? Or that's a possibility?
Mr. Shaw?
You'll probably need a traffic study procedure, so it may or may not be this permanent testing.
Mr. Stringer?
Just trying to understand what exactly, if you vote yes on this and it's approved, what is the step that the administration is going to take to find other companies? Is it going to be through a bid or informational?
So it would be an RFP process if the district proceeds in that manner. Based on the discussion and the amendment, there's the flexibility to either go with our current firm or go down the route of an RFP.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, Madam President?
Yes, Mr. Howard?
How would that determination be made? It's a decision of the board. Okay, thank you.
Could you say that into the mic, Mr. Shaw, please, so that we can have it recorded?
Right, the traffic study will be a determination by the board as to who conducts it.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Levinstein?
So just being clear that these studies, the CEQA and the traffic, possibly the traffic, are required to continue on with the capital bond project for any construction that we'd be doing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call as amended, please.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Ms. Brokash?
Yes.
Mr. Stringer?
Yes.
Ms. Asiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. That concludes the items for finance for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Kern. We're going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, Mr. McLemore.
Thank you, Madam President. On the HR agenda, we have items 11.1 and 11 through 11.8 for your consideration on the consent agenda.
Would any member like to separate out any item?
Yes, Madam President.
Yes, sir?
I would like to separate out item H.4.
So that's in 11.1,
11,
H.4.
yes.
So we have a member that suggests to separate that item out. Can I have a second? Oh, I don't need to. So, okay. Yeah, so he's going to separate out 11.1, H.4. Mr. Stringer?
I'd like to separate out 11.8, number 1.
11.8. Hold on a second. I gotta find out what you 11.8. So let's start with everything but 11.1, H4, and then 11.8. So everything else but that.
Whatever you can separate out 11.8, number 1.
11.8, number 1. Okay, thank you, sir. So, let me see where we are. This is always very confusing to me. So, do I need to have a motion? I need to have a motion on not 11.1 H4 and 11.8 number 1. Okay. So, can I have a motion, please, on those other things? Questions or discussion on all that other stuff? Go ahead, Mr. Stewart.
Under I, under civil service change of status. I see a lot of security items here. Do we know 1 month into the school year if we have enough security at each of the buildings? Have we done an assessment on the needs based on real-time events at the schools?
Sorry, I didn't catch all the questions.
We're one month into the year, and I'm noticing we have a lot of changes in the school monitors, the security. So do we know 1 month in whether or not we have enough security in place at the buildings based on real-time events over the last month?
We've checked the buildings. We have staff in every building, whether it's enough or not. One group will say one thing, another group will say something different. At this point here, we have filled all the positions that have been approved by the board.
Do you have any idea based on incidents that there may be a need at specific buildings?
Dr. Green? In reference to specific incidents?
I'm not aware of any.
Yeah, I would say it's too early, and we've added additional safety monitors over the last several years. Certainly this would be something we would evaluate as we get closer to recommending a budget to the board. But as of right now, you guys have supported us with the request to add additional personnel over the last several years, and right now it seems like we're in a good place.
Thank you.
Okay, so are there any other questions or comments on that? All the other stuff except for 11.1 H4 and 11.8 number 1. Roll call, please.
Ms. Wilcox?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Madeo?
Yes. We're going to move on to 11.1 H4. May I have a motion, please? Questions or comments on 11.1 H4? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Schmidt-Iron?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Abstain.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Madeo?
Yes.
Ms. Wilcox?
Yes.
We're going to move on to 11.8, number 1. I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So,
Questions or discussion on that item? Mr. Schmidt-Iron?
What specific criteria did the committee use in determining the choice that they made? Were there specific things that was a point system involved? And were there specific items that were given certain points?
It was a point system.
So you can't talk about specific, did they go into attendance? Did they go into winning percentage, graduation rates? How did they determine who was the best candidate if it was a point system?
Mr. Glasscock, can you come to the microphone, please? And just answer that question, that's all.
The specific criteria that you used to create a point system, can you go over just general categories that you used?
We looked at various different questions we spoke about, like you just mentioned, attendance, their ways of, their philosophies. We gave each candidate an opportunity to answer any, or explain, or their personal values and things that they've done in their past. And then the candidates had, the committee members had a chance to also ask additional questions based on responses by each candidate.
Are there any other questions or comments? Yes, Ms. Santiago?
Can you share how many people were on the committee?
The first committee was 4 members, all unit members. Bargaining unit members were asked for representation. For the first meeting, 4 people, and for the second round, there was 7.
Are there any other questions or comments on this item? Go ahead, Mr. Stern.
There was a quote in the newspaper regarding the process. And the quote was, "The report we reviewed cleared him." Can we ask whether or not Mr. Shaw can answer that question if the report cleared the candidate?
Dr. Padilla, Mr. Shaw?
At the time of the 2 investigations, there was no evidence of any untoward activity or wrongdoing on the part of the coach.
Are there any other questions or comments on this item? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Santiago? Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
No.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Scrivener?
No.
That item passes.
Mr. McLemore?
That concludes my items, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McLemore. We're going to move on to the clerk of the board, Mr. McCoy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move approval of the minutes from September 25th, 2018.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Burton?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston? Mr. Levinstein? Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Scrivener?
Yes.
Ms. Santiago? That concludes my items, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. We are now, excuse me, people, we're still having our meeting here. We are now at the portion of the agenda for public discussion on non-agenda items. Please refer to the procedure sheet next to the sign-in sheet. I do not believe no one has signed up. Would anybody like to address the board on non-agenda items? Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Howard? Mr. Johnston? Mr. Levinstein?
Mr. Levinstein?
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop? Mr. Scrivener? Ms. Santiago? Mr. Walker? Ms. Burton?